Hey guys, it's Chris over at Battle Beaver Customs again. Today we're going to go over the question I get asked all the freaking time is, can I put in Abxy colored buttons, or can I put in a home button without having to unsolder the rumble motors in here, or can I go change my LED without doing it? Is it possible? Yes. Do I prefer to do it? Absolutely not. I think it's faster to unsolder and resolder. But a lot of guys don't like to solder rumble motors, whatever. So we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to knock it all out in one shot. Usually if you can't unsolder a rumble motor, please don't try to install your own LED. You probably can't do it. So we're going to use the tools that I sell as well. This is going to be a little weird for me. I'm going to try to do everything under the camera. If I don't, I'm sorry. Just get in here, get under your trigger, use either end. You just point right inside of there, it'll pop up. Boom. Side cap comes off. Same thing on this side. Get to the bottom. There's your security T8. It's going to be the one with the hole in it. You can see that. You have 5 screws. Knock all those 5 out real quick. And this video is going to feature a home button. I'm making a lot of custom home buttons now. Gosh, pretty much any logo until I find out what I can and can't do. The one I'm going to be doing on this controller is a Fisticuffs logo he uses on his video. He's a great guy. He's helped me out quite a bit as far as getting some followers. He's been a good customer. I think he likes my products. He talks pretty highly of them, so it's good to have around. But so we're going to do his Fista logo. Hopefully he doesn't hate me for it. I think it'll look pretty cool. Alright. Get your screws off, faceplate lifts straight off, and throw that off to the side. Go ahead and take your thumbsticks out. We're not going to need those paperweights anymore. Those things are garbage. Pull your middle part out, just lifts right out. Take the back, kick it off to the side. Here's where we're at. We have these. Since we're going to do this without unsoldering the rumbles, what I like to do, take your rumbles. It's kind of a cheater trick here. I'll show you. Take a little bit of electrical tape. I slice mine down the middle because I like to keep it thin. This kind of weird stuff, but take and just tape your motors down. Just going to keep them from falling out. It may seem dumb, but you do a couple hundred of these, you find some little tricks that just happen to work. So you do that, holding it upside down, and you're going to go in with this little screwdriver I give you guys. It's a Torque 6 screwdriver. Go in, pull out these 2 out of the corner next to your rumbles. That holds on your long board. Not the one you skate down the hills, but the one that controls your controller. Pull those 2 out. What I like to do at this point, just kind of out of order, you need to take off this surround part around your home button. And this thing's a pain in the butt. But you're going to have to pop it off because it's going to hold in this bottom board. So pull up on the front here. You'll hear it kind of snap. Get over that home button. On the back there's a few clips there. Just kind of push this whole thing forward. And it'll slide right off. You'll have your sync button right here. It likes to wiggle out of place all the time. Just go ahead and take it out. That way to guarantee you don't lose it. So, back to this side, you're going to remove the rest of these screws off your smaller board. I like to get the ones I can see now while I'm here. And we'll start moving around this other board since people want to see it without unsoldering the rumble motors. Again, if you can solder, just unsolder them. You're going to risk kind of ripping wires around. But anyways, pull up on this. Your 2 clips on the inside unclip. So more pressure on this side and you're pulling up. So this board's somewhat free. Kind of see you have wires here. Just take this and you're going to move it around. Some of these wires are longer than others. When they make them in the factory over in China, they're not all the same length. This one seems to be a little bit longer than the rest. But you'll see you have a screw in here next to your rumble motor. Grab that one. You'll have one on the other side as well. Go ahead and grab it. Sometimes these don't just pop right up. Magnetize your screwdriver or use tweezers. Boom, take that one. And your last one is right here next to your B button. Go ahead and grab that. Alright, here's the tricky part. So you're going to kind of float this board up. You're going to take your inside board out. So it's going to lift up a little bit. And you're going to have to play, kind of do the dance to get this thing out of here. So kind of twist the bottom out. You have your battery connections here, and then it'll slide out this way. Came out pretty easy that time. First, what we're going to do, go ahead and show you guys again how to solder this LED on there. I get a lot of questions about this. I've had a lot of guys mess it up. It's possible to do. So on the board you will have a white dot right here. That dot is, simple terms, is that's where the way you're going to point everything. On your LEDs you're either going to have an arrow or a green dot. Make a green dot hit the white dot, or make the arrow point to the white dot. I could explain the anodes and cathodes behind it, but it won't matter. Take a little bit of solder on the tip of your gun. Try and do this under the light. I usually just hit a little bit on each side. Gets it nice and warm. Boom, comes right off. Knock that in whatever sponge or metal bath you have. Take those off. I usually smooth them out a little bit. Okay, that's good to go. A lot of times with these 08, 05, so there it is, I told you, don't ask me the size. 08, 05 LEDs, they don't want to solder on real easy like an 06, 03 does. Just put them in a little bit of solder flux and just barely touch the edges of them. That's just going to help clean up those contacts. You'll just put a little bit on there, you see it's kind of hanging off. Take a tiny bit of solder. I usually put it on my iron, not the right way to do it. And get it on there. Start with one side. That flows in. Get it straight. Trying to do this under a camera is a little different with the flash on. Alright, that hits one side. A little bit more solder, flip it around, and boom, tap the other side, check your work, make sure it's on there good. That one's pretty good, not my best, but hey, this is a how-to video. Put your soldering iron back off to the side. Okay, now we're back to installing the buttons. So you have your half-built guts over here. Take this, tilt it down, you get it just right. You can just lift this pad out, take all these buttons out. There's an easy way and a fast way. Flip it over and knock them out. And your other ones, they just go back in. They're like Tetris pieces. Guess what? You can't mess these things up. That's how they're built. So twist them around until they fit. If you have anything that snags, I want you to pull it off. Hit it with an X-Acto knife, make sure they move freely inside there. I'll tell you, I'll try to do a good job when I sell them, but if you buy them from me, if you buy them from someone else, I make mine in-house, literally in my house. Other guys buy them in China. The molds they use in China, they'll have excess, they call it flashing from the injection molds. Hit it with an X-Acto knife, get the edges, get the rough spots off. This one's always funny. Twist it around, and it'll finally sit in. There it goes. That one's not as smooth as it should be. Deal with that later. Take your little ones, drop them in. Then your home button. Here's our custom home button. One side is bigger than the other. If for some reason I cast the picture in, whatever you send me, upside down, you can just trim one side to be smaller. Just make sure you get your orientation right. You know, up, down, left, right. Boom, knock it in that way. And then take your pad, put it back in, and then you're kind of back where you started. Now we're going to reassemble. So to put this back in, want to go in, we're going to go in this way, make that kind of sharp turn, and that'll sit in. You're going to get a little bit of snag in here. It's coming from your bumpers, so just work those buttons, just kind of wiggle it around. Easiest way to do it, or you can pull back on the bumpers, but you'll get that board to drop in. And there you go. Once you're in flush, don't force it. If it's not going in right, pull it out, start over. Now you just go in and put your screws back in. And always so hard to do when you're trying to film this at the same time. But that's pretty much it, guys. We're going to just throw this back together. So I've proven it is possible to go in, change out buttons, change out the LED without taking off the rumbles. You know, choose to do it however way you wish. I think it's kind of annoying to have to move this board around the whole time, but I like to show all the options. You guys asked for it, I'll give it to you. Alright, we get those on the small board. Push this down, press firmly on this side, get both those clips to engage, and then use the 2 screws to put it back on. That way if you rage and throw your controller, your boards don't separate on the inside. Believe it or not, I've seen it happen. Guys, if you want some of these Abxy buttons, they're coming to Facebook or coming to eBay soon. For now, message me on Facebook. I don't have a lot of colors. I'm making them myself. So if you have a request, I can probably get them done. Good bet, always have black. So take the sync button in there. And here's always a fun part, putting this part back on. Start from the back. Get it to hook in the back. And then press down on your guide button, and you actually want to bend up on this a little bit. And as you do that, it'll go up over your bumpers, press firmly on it, it'll snap right back into place. That's where we're at. Okay, now we're going to put this into the bottom shell. When you do this, you have your 2 connections to your battery. They have to be on the inside here. Naturally, they want to go behind. So when you go in, make sure those hit on the inside. Get in about halfway, press your triggers down just a hair, and that'll get them in. Make sure your triggers move freely. There is a stopper on there. If they don't get over that stopper, they won't work. So get them in like that. And while we're here, why not? Let's throw some red Dome Thumbsticks in, because it'll just make the controller work and feel a lot better. There's your red domes. Drop your faceplate on with the domes. Got to kind of use some pressure to get these in here. I made them to the point where if they were any bigger, they just simply wouldn't fit. There we go. I got those. Go back in, put your 5 screws in. Switch in drivers to your security T8 Torx. I also wanted to prove that you can do all this with the actual tools that I sell. Some guys give me a hard time that I will demo with my set of tools and then mail you guys different ones. So these are just as good as mine. They're just smaller. Not as comfortable to use when you use them for hours on end. Alright, take your caps, or just start from this side, press down, press in. Same thing. Grab a couple fancy batteries or your battery pack. Put those in. If you don't know how to put batteries in, probably should stop there. Boom, turn your light on. Not a bad looking controller. Don't know how that looks in the light. Well, it looks a little hot spotted. It spreads out a lot better in person, but you get the idea. That's what we got. If you have any questions, message me on Facebook, eBay, text, email, whatever. I'll answer it. See something you like, you want to buy it, shoot me a message. We'll get it bought for you. Till next time.